Welcome to Fallopian Files, the visual podcast about all things woman for all womankind. I'm your host, Christian C. Today we are joined by the two hosts of the B-Rich Family Chronicles Podcast. We've got Blair and Brittany Richardson. Say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Fallopian Files. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Hey.
Of course. This is so exciting. This is so you all will notice I'm not in the normal setting. We're doing a little virtual setup today. So forgive any weird random noises you hear around.
Right.
We can't control it.
Right.
It is life happening all around.
There
us.
you go.
Life is life.
Yes.
So if you hear a bark, a train, a siren, just go with it. It's
A
ambiance.
child.
A child. It's just ambiance here,
There
okay?
you go.
But no, we wanted to do this special episode with the B-Rich Family Chronicles to join me in the conversation about the journey towards motherhood and what family building looks like for all different types of families. Because, here at Fallopian Files, we are about all things woman. And we want to make sure that we're telling all of our stories because especially in today's time, so many of our stories are just really being erased and not being told. So when you have erasure like that, people can feel more isolated, like maybe whatever they're going through or experiencing is abnormal or they don't know really what kinds of resources or how they can get through what they're going through individually or even together, but feeling more isolated. So definitely wanted to continue highlighting and sharing stories and bringing people who are basically, lending these voices out to the masses. And if we can all share amongst each other, it just creates an even bigger community where we can all just kind of grow and thrive together. So just really excited that we're able to do this collab episode today.
Yes. We're excited.
Do you all want to tell everyone about the B-Rich Family Chronicles? Give us
Go for it,
tell
babe.
us what you all do.
I knew you would throw it to me. Yes. So we have, our podcast, B-Rich Family Chronicles. It is our name, because I'm Blair, she's Brittany, B, and then our last name. And so when our kids were smaller, I think Brittany created the hashtag or whatever, Chronicles. And so just to kind of like tie it all together, we were like, well, let's just keep that flowing for our family. So, and we talk about all kind of things, family related things, current events.
Yeah. Whatever's going on, love, life, parenting.
Yeah.
Everything that you can think about that people may not want to talk about, we talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that.
So yeah, that's us. And it really just started because I don't know, one day I was just like, you think we can do a podcast? You want to? Like, we talk about random stuff and a lot of stuff, deep stuff all the time. So it's like, why not? And it kind of formed as a way for us to make sure we had time to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Because with having children, we don't always get that. And so it was like, well, at least we know this time is for us.
It's like our guaranteed together time.
Mm-hmm.
When we can't get it throughout the week, we know that we have at least an hour for just us.
Yep.
Oh, that's smart. Look at that. See, it's doing double duty. So you're growing, you're being, creative, you're getting, your content out there and getting to spend time together.
Yep.
Right.
So that's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
And I know, for those of you, if you're looking for it, I know you all are on Spotify and Apple.
Yes.
iHeartRadio.
I think it's everywhere.
Yeah, we're on all major podcast platforms.
Yep.
Okay. So those of you who are listening and you're going looking for them, you can find them on all your major podcasts.
Absolutely.
apps
B-Rich
and
Family
everything.
Chronicles. Yes, yes.
So what I wanted to kind of start talking with you all about today, I have shared with my audience my journey towards motherhood individually. So they know that I am in the process of basically seemingly to be like a single mother by choice, because I am not coupled or in a partnership, and getting a little older. And as the time goes on, I knew that I really wanted to be a mom,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of like either wait for this magic, person to come into my life to make things happen,
Yeah.
or say, you know what, I'm going to still go forward on this journey on my own. So I'm planning on sharing a lot of that process for what I am going to go through
Mm-hmm.
with the audience. But I was really excited to speak with you two because you both are moms of three,
Yes.
and so you've got two twin girls
Yes.
and a son.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So I just would love to talk about your journey. Like, how did you all get started with growing your family? What was the process? What did you experience and go through? Like, I just would really love to hear your journey and your story.
Okay. So I would say actually the journey started kind of like yours, where it was just me. And it was because I was having female issues towards I was on my cycle for like 2 months at a time.
Mm.
And my doctor was like, you're losing too much blood. He was like, we have to do something. He was like, but my suggestion is going to be a hysterectomy. So do you want to be a parent? And I was like, yeah. And so he was like,
Mm.
well, you need to start trying. And I was like, what? How am I going to do this? Like, I'm like, and I'm not with anybody and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, so it's just going to be me. And I was like, well, kind of like literally what you just said. Am I really going to wait around for this person to come who may never
Right.
come? And then I missed the opportunity because I was waiting on a partner, or am I just going to
Hmm.
suck it up and do it because people do it all the time? Not that it's always, you know, by choice, but
Right.
people do it.
Right.
So I told my doctor, I was like, yeah, I want to try. So I had reached out to one of my friends that I went to. Well, actually, he and I went to school elementary all the way up. And I was like, he always
Mm.
told me, whenever you're ready, just let me know. And so I was like,
Okay.
all
Okay.
right, all right. So I called him and I was like, all right, I'm ready. And he was like, oh, I don't know that I can do this. And I was like, oh, like I was devastated, like so devastated because
Yeah.
I was like, my entire, or my process was that this was going to be the person. And
Right.
I had no questions about it. I knew I didn't have to go to a sperm bank. And my heart, I just wanted to know the person, because if anything were to happen, I can call you, I can text you, I can drive by, I can do whatever. And I didn't want, and this is just for me, I didn't want it to be where it was just somebody's like number or like a first initial last
Hmm.
name. I'm not even sure you know how it's done, but I didn't want that. And
Right.
I guess it was, I looked at it like, how many ever kids I have, they're already gonna have to deal with like the fact that their mom is a lesbian, black, all these things. And I was like, can I take one thing away from them? And like that
Hmm.
whole having a unknown donor, I was like, if possible, I want to remove that piece of, any kind of, I don't know if stigma is the right word, but just,
No. Yeah. No.
whatever, like
Yeah. Yeah.
ugliness or whatever. And so, but luckily, I then found somebody else who had said that he would donate. And it was funny because it was actually through a friend. He dated one of my friends, and they had a conversation, and he had
Oh,
shared with her that if that opportunity ever presented itself, he would want to donate to a same sex couple. And so when I told her I was ready to have kids, she was like, call him. You got to call him. And I was like, I'm not. But we went to college together. I knew who he was. And so we were like, all right, let's start. And so he and I
hmm.
tried. So I did an at-home insemination. So
Okay.
this was back in 2000, we'll say 12, 13-ish time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
it was different. I literally went online and Googled in-home insemination kit. I ordered it for
They make
$14. Yeah, for $14. And it was a specimen cup, a plastic speculum, and a syringe. Like with the
Really?
extension, whatever. You can't get that for $14 now. But that's what it
But
was
even the fact
then.
that you can get it is like beyond me. I didn't even know that was something you could
Everybody got to make money somehow.
online.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I just typed it in and that's what came up. So since we tried it home, it took 6 tries. And as you've experienced like that, you have to wait every month. You know what I mean? And so it was just like, it was draining. And I was just like, you know what? I've tried. I guess this is not meant to be. I prayed about it and I was like, you know, whatever is supposed to happen is supposed to happen. If that means I end up having a hysterectomy to stop the bleeding and I don't become a parent, then that's what God chose for me. But if I'm supposed to be a parent, this will work. And so I just remember we tried one last time and I told him, I was like, this is just going to be it. He had some things going on with himself too, where he was like, this is taking longer than what I thought. And I could sense that he was ready to just be done with it as well. And so I was like, all right, well, this is our last try and it just is what it is. Cut to a month later, Brittany and I started dating. And so I was like, I just want to tell you, this is what I've been trying to do. I don't know how you feel about it. You can go, you can stay, but this is what I'm doing. And I'm not going to stop trying because this is something that I want.
Yeah.
And then she was like, okay, we're dating. And then I noticed like a month goes by and I'm like, I haven't started my period. And I was just like, okay, I gotta take a test. I had taken so many tests to where on that day I took the test, left it in my bathroom, went and started cleaning my apartment. And like hours later, and I came back and I was like, oh wait, I didn't check it. Went back in the bathroom and I was like, I'm pregnant. I was just like in utter shock.
Wow.
As if I hadn't been trying, but I was just in utter shock because every other test had been negative, you know. And so then I just remember she got off work and I was like, I got something to tell you. And I was like, this is what it is. Again, you can stay, you can go, but you know, this is where we are.
Wow. Okay, so I have a couple questions because that is amazing. But so when you were doing the first the tries, you said you tried 6 times.
Yes.
It was 6 times unsuccessful, or on the 6th time is when you became successful?
On the 6th time I became successful.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So were you like tracking your ovulation using like the basal temperature type things? Like how did you know when it was time to do the transfer, like the insemination? And then was like, did you, when you figured out it was time, like were you able to just call him and say, hey, come over, drop it off? Or was you like, or did like you have like kind of like a pre-set up where he would, give you his sample, ahead of time and you're put in the refrigerator? Like what is the process?
Yes.
when you're doing this at home?
All the questions, I know. So actually, okay, so remember I was having like the bleeding issue. So my doctor was like, I don't know if you truly ovulate. So he put me on Clomid. And he was like, so I'm going to make sure that you are ovulating. And I tracked it with like the ovulation kits, but I don't know, they didn't seem to work with me. So, but I did the ovulation kit and there was an app. And so I kind of tracked it that way. And I would tell him, all right, this is my window. And there were times he would come to my apartment. I'd hand him the cup. He'd go in the bathroom. And I was like, all right, thanks, guys. See you later. There was a time he was at work. And he was like, I can't come to you. And I was like, well, I'm gonna come to you. So I gave him the cup. He did what he did at work. I was like, look, whatever happened to you at work, that's on you. I remember riding home with it in between my legs, and I was just like, all right, I gotta get back home. So
trying to keep it warm or something. Like, why would you ride with?
Yes, trying to keep it warm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was always fresh because I didn't refrigerate it. I didn't freeze it, anything like that. It was always fresh. But yeah, it always either, like I said, it was just that one time where I had to go to his job. But other times he came to my apartment. And like I said, yeah, I give him the cup. He do what he had to do, and then I was like, yeah. And I would inseminate it. I sit there, like I lay in my bed with my legs up.
I was gonna say, like, are you inseminating yourself? Did you have a friend, like, tell a friend, come over and help me inseminate? Like, what?
Yeah, so actually, my best friend, she did the first one for me, and it didn't take, but we had a running joke where she was like, if it takes, I get to say I got you pregnant. So, but that time didn't take, but yeah, so she did one, and then the other ones I did myself. So, but
wow. Okay, yeah. And then were you using, I know you said it came with like a little speculum and stuff like that. Were you using the speculum on yourself, or were you just taking the sample and just putting it as far back as you could possibly get it?
So I did both. I can't remember on the time it took. I can't remember if I had used it or not. But I just remember
I wasn't around for that part yet.
Yeah, she wasn't around for that. But I just remember using it sometimes, but not every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's I can't even imagine, because all that I have experienced thus far has been in a clinic or hospital setting, and I haven't even thought about doing anything remotely on my own other than the like
carrying and raising. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. But that's just like, I wouldn't even have thought to look online. So it's just so interesting to hear that was the start. So okay, so Brittany, when you guys are first starting the date, and she's saying, this is what the journey I'm on, this is what I'm trying to do, and you're like, all right, cool, that's what's up. And then she's like, oh, guess what? It's actually happened and I'm pregnant. Like, what was going through your mind? Like, were you ready to be a parent? I know it's early in the relationship, so were you even thinking about being a parent? Are you like, oh, that's cool, that's what you got going on? And like, what were your thoughts?
So, funny thing, like, I never wanted kids. Like, I didn't. That was just me. I didn't want kids, didn't want to get married, didn't want none of that stuff, right? I was just like, I'm just, whatever happens in my life happens in my life, kind of thing, right? So like you said, when we first started dating, she told me that this was what she was on. So I respected her for telling me that. Like,
right,
this is the journey. I can't say nothing about it, because this is your journey and this is what you want to do. So I kind of just fell in line with it. So when she told me, it was like, dang, for real? Hold on. Like, hold on. Okay, well, all right. Well, I'm here. So it's like, okay, let's see what's going to happen.
Right, right.
So, like I said, I kind of just fell in line with it. And it was like, this is what we're doing. Here we go. Like, here we go. Life is changed.
Dressing.
Right.
But yeah, I was on board. It was like, you told me this, I've known about it. I think I had different feelings if she wouldn't have told me, or like waited. Right. And this is what I've been trying to do, and here we are. But she told me from the beginning that this is what she was trying to do. She didn't wait. She didn't hold it back. Didn't try to hide anything. So I was kind of like, okay, I know now. So here we are.
Yeah.
Like, was she sharing with you, like, hey, I'm on my way to go pick up some sperm real quick? Like,
so the last one she did, it actually happened, like, I think before we started dating, or maybe like a couple days or something.
We started dating in July, and I had been trying, and then I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I think I did I only tried that one time. Like, so I tried once in July. I found out I was pregnant in August. And so she knew about that when I was like, yeah, this is this is what I'm doing tonight.
It hadn't been that long though, so it was like,
yeah.
Okay.
So you only knew about one as far as like while we were dating.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's wild. So you started dating in like July. She's like, hey, guess what? I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And in August, it was, I'm pregnant.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So take me through now. Okay, so now you found out you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to your doctor. You're like, hey, what's up? Like, I took a home pregnancy test. I'm pregnant. Like, what was the journey? Especially if you were having, did you ever find out why you were having the abnormal bleeding or like the heavy bleeding?
Nope. Still to this day, they do not know. Yep. And
that is crazy.
I don't know how far in our story we'll get, but it happened before I had them. I got pregnant with them. It stopped for about 5-6 years, and then it started again. And then I had a new doctor, and she presented us with the same thing. Are you done having kids, or do you want another? And that's how we started trying to have Blue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get to Blue, let's. So now you're pregnant. You get to the doctor. They confirm your pregnancy.
Yes.
You're moving along. So now, how does this impact you all like dating? Do you feel like you all became really like close and like deep into a relationship knowing that you were expecting, or do you feel like you went through the normal like dating woes, like, hey, like you might be cool, but let's see, like how like did the pregnancy impact how you all ended up dating, or was that completely separate?
So I would say that I don't think the pregnancy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, impacted it. I feel like from the beginning, she was on board. She was supportive, even when like the doctor was like, it was a running joke he had. He was like, we're gonna have to do a head count because I was taking Clomid, and then twins, running the family, and he was like, we gotta figure out, how many you're gonna have.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how many? And so we were just like, spitballing names and like, sets of names and all this. Yeah, it was wild.
You're
but
right.
You were talking about names together. So Brittany, at this point, you all in?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we went to my first ultrasound appointment, and then that's when he found out that it was 2. He was like, they're in 2 different sacs and all that. But I say that I don't think the pregnancy affected our relationship because of how on board she was. Like she introduced me, when she introduced me to her family, she told them about it. The people who she was ready, for them to know, they were supportive. Telling my family was hilarious. But they were supportive. But of course had a bunch of questions because it's like you all just started dating. Like this is new, all those things. Right. But Brittany and I did break up 3 months into my pregnancy. But it had nothing to do with me being pregnant.
Nothing at all.
Okay. It was, and I don't know if you want to tell.
So before we started dating, I had been in a long-term relationship, and it kind of, I was at a point where I thought that I was ready for a relationship, and in my mind, I wasn't at the point to be in a relationship. And I told her that it was like, if we would have stayed together at that point, we wouldn't have made it. Mm-hmm. So where I wasn't fair to her.
Right.
Like in my mindset, it had nothing to do with the pregnancy, it had nothing to do with her or anything. It was all me. My mindset wasn't right. And it was like, I was like, I couldn't do that to you. So like, let me get my mind right, And it was like, the timing was unfortunate because of the babies.
Right.
It was like, if I would have stayed and I told you this, we wouldn't have made it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't have liked me just because I wasn't in the right headspace.
Yeah.
So
most of my pregnancy I went through alone because we broke up. Like I said, when I was 3 months pregnant, delivered them.
And she told my mama. It didn't.
I did. I told her I was being spiteful. I did. I reached out to her mom and I was like, "Hey, just want to let you know I had the babies," but I knew she would tell Brittany that I had them. So, but it's okay. We mature,
Yeah.
And so had them.
I do a little like.
Yeah. Right. So had them. What I will say though is that we stayed in some sort of contact throughout my entire pregnancy and up until when we got back together. And I would say we got back together around the time the girls were about like 4 or 5 months old.
Yeah.
But the first part, it was just me, just thugging it out. So
what was that like for you? Because we're talking about like, especially as you get closer to the end of the pregnancy, you got to go to the doctor fairly frequently. So you're having to like take time off work, or do you have family or girlfriends that are able to go with you, or you were just going thugging it out, doing everything just by yourself?
Everything by myself. As far as somebody coming with me, my best friend and my mama came with me to find out what they were, find out the sex. But aside from that, I went to them on my own. And I am like, I don't know, I've always been real, I don't know, independent and just kind of, just doing what I need to do to get stuff done. So it really didn't phase me. And so I even remember my mama asking me like, well, how do you think you're gonna do this by yourself? And can you do it? And blah blah. And I was like, yeah, girl, I got this. I'm gonna be all right. There may be some hard nights, but I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And even when after I had them, brought them home, and bless my mama's heart, she tried to help her best, and I ended up putting her out of my house that night, but that's another story. Because she was trying to help, but her help wasn't helping me, and I was like, this is making it, worse. And so I ended up just, handling it myself, and I found a rhythm for me and what worked, and what worked for the babies too. Were there some rough nights? They were, but it was more of like, I think what it was for me was the sleep deprivation on some nights. But I say that, but they were also really, really good babies to be a new parent, and twins at that. They were so good. They started sleeping through the night at 2 months old. They were on the same schedule. They still are on the same schedule to this day. Here we are 11 years later. So yeah, it was, there were challenges, but they made it really, really easy for me. Yeah.
Wow. So you're talking about being a single mom with not just one but two babies.
Yeah.
And doing it by yourself.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And did you decide to like breastfeed, bottle feed? Like what was your process with that? Because you're doing it all by yourself. So you're talking about waking up in the middle of the night with, is it one waking up, or did you put them on a schedule? Like what was that like?
So they were on a schedule. And that is actually why I ended up putting my mama out that night, because she wanted me to give them formula, and I was breastfeeding. And she was in her, I got where she was coming from, because she was trying to help me get some sleep, and she was like, just give them formula and they'll be fine and they'll go back to sleep. You can go back to sleep. And I was like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to nurse. I want to, give them breast milk. And so I was nursing, and then she was like, well, leave the other one alone. I was like, because if I lay down and she wakes up and is hungry, like then that interrupts it too. So I'm gonna feed her, lay her down, I'm gonna get the other one, and I'll be all right. And so so that was the journey. I nursed them for a month. But I am a well-endowed chest lady, and so I could not nurse both of them at the same time without trying to suffocate them. Like I have to hold my breath back, make sure I wasn't covering their nose. And so there was a time like where I would be nursing one, and the other one, because they were on the same schedule, would be like upset, crying. I'm like trying to console them. So I went to solely pumping, so then I could hold 2 bottles, because I can prop them up like on a boppy or whatever, and I can hold 2 bottles. So that was it was a journey, but it was But I breastfed them for a little over a year. So
that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So now they're here.
They're here.
You're single momming. You're pulling your hair out at home, trying to deal with them, family trying to help, friends trying to help. When does Miss Brittany make her way back into the picture?
I slowly was creeping back in.
She was.
So there was times where like even before she had them, like she was needing help, like with this going to the store and stuff. And I was like, I got you, don't worry, I got you.
You're trying to be
Yep.
helpful.
Or
Right. And after I had them,
when she moved into a new apartment, I was like, oh yeah, I come help you.
yeah.
I'll help you move.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was after the move when they
Is
were
when-
they were 5 months.
Yes.
And that was like when she kind of like didn't
Come on,
go
girl, stop
away.
playing.
Right. She was there and then didn't, really go
Yeah.
away after
I
that.
was like, come on, stop playing.
Well, yeah.
Come
And
on.
I think
Stop
we
being
like
mad.
made it like official
Yeah.
when they like a month after that.
Yeah.
But she came back around when they were 5 months
Yeah.
old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then now that you're back in it, you're like, I'm in it. Let's
Mhm.
do it. Are you feeling like, okay, let me also jump in to help you in a parent role? Or do you feel like at that time, were you prepared for that type of role with the girls? Or were you kind of like a little separate, like, yes, we're together, but these are your children?
No, from the beginning they were mine. Even like when she first got pregnant, they were mine. Like
Mm.
I don't care what she said, even when we broke up, like they were mine. So, but I did when I came back, kind of like ease my way back into it.
Mm-hmm.
I let her kind of like guide me to her comfortability. So whatever she allowed me to do is what I did. So I didn't want to like overstep. I didn't want to just jump back in, be like, yeah, I'm here kind of thing. No, I kind of like let her run that. And you tell me what you want me to do, what you want to allow me to do, and what kind of role you want me to have. So, but like I said, from the beginning, they were mine. It was like I never took that away. So,
and I always say this to you. She jumped back in. I think the difficult part was the family and friends trusting that she was now here to stay. Because like I said, I had my best friend and then a really good friend who helped a lot. Those who helped out a whole lot. And then my mom and one of my aunts helped out a lot. So those 4 people specifically were just like, is she staying? Is she leaving again? Like, what's happening? Because she told us at the beginning she was here to stay. And so I think that was maybe the most difficult part was her trying to regain their trust, but also not thinking that she needed to, and she needed to only gain my trust, but respecting the fact that I wanted her to regain their trust as well.
Because I tell you, when I came back, I was like, I'm not dating them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do I need therapies when I'm not dating them? It was kind of like that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I understood. I was like, okay, this is your family. I get it. I may not like it, but I get it, and I'm a respect them. I'm gonna respect you. You need me to gain their trust. You need me to have some conversations. That's fine. I'll have all the conversations in the world,
Yep.
But I also need them to understand too is that you chose to let me back in as well. So it's not just like I forced my way back in or anything. Like you chose to let me back into this role. So they have to understand that too.
Yeah, girl.
So I did kind of have to. I had to stand my ground in like a respectful way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I left, but she let me back in. So y'all got to remember that part too.
So we're in this together.
Right.
Yeah, like it's not just me creeping. We're in this together, a partnership. That's beautiful. So in this time that you're rebuilding, you're getting closer, you're establishing your relationship again, was there any time like, because I know you said at the beginning, Brittany, that you were like, I don't ever see myself married, I don't ever see myself with kids. Now you're in a committed relationship with a woman with 2 kids. Like, so where in this process did you start to kind of change your mind, or did you change your mind? Like what was that like for you, kind of going through what you thought you wanted or saw for yourself versus what it actually ended up becoming?
That's a good question. I think
when I slid into your DMs,
that's exactly. That's about the time. No,
right.
I think from the beginning, I kind of, when I accepted the role in the beginning, it kind of, my mindset kind of started changing, because like we said, the first 3 months I was there, so I was already changing. My mindset was already changing. And I think once I came back into their lives, they just had me wrapped around their finger from their little 5-month-old finger from that point on. So
still to this day.
Aww.
Yep.
And
man,
how do they address you all? Like, is it just like this is mom and mommy, or this is these both mommy?
So,
Like, how do you all like
I'm
once
mama
they
and
got
she's
old
mommy.
enough
Yeah,
okay.
Yep, I'm mommy, she's mama. And I think we just decided that when they were babies before they could even talk, I think it was actually Brittany's mom who helped us decide like who was gonna be who. And I was just like, okay, then that's what it is.
Even though at the age now they're in the age of my
Right.
mother.
Right. I love that adolescent.
Oh my God. Yes.
A lot of hormones rolling through that house right now.
It's a lot of estrogen in this house. Okay.
Help.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So then, as they have gotten older, have you, now that you all, how old were they when you all got married and all of that?
They were 3.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're like, I don't know, 3. Do you remember things at 3? I need
They
to
do
talk
some
with child development.
I know, right? I don't think so. Well, it's funny that you say that because one of them the other day told me that you don't start remembering things until you're 5. And so she was like, basically your life doesn't start until you're 5 years old. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, what about your brother? I was like, isn't his life happening? She said, not for him, for us.
Not for him. He has no idea.
No. So I'm like, okay.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
So once they turned 5 and their life began,
Right.
did you all have to have any like conversations with them explaining, like in our family you have 2 moms where you might have friends as you're growing up who, their parents might look different. Like, what types of conversations did you have preparing them, for essentially like the world?
Yeah.
I think it really started when they started school, because we still have conversations like that now, especially, middle school is a tough time. So you got people saying things and, you got, where's your dad? Or, you have 2 moms. Why do you have 2 moms? And things like that. So
you must be adopted.
Yeah. So we've had those conversations since they were little. We continue to have those conversations with them now. Just explain to them like every family looks different. Like you may have a mom and a dad. You may have just a mom, just a dad, 2 dads, 2 moms,
a grandparent.
Aunt, uncle, grandparent, foster parent, anything like
everybody's sibling. Yeah,
everybody's family is different. So you don't judge people based on what their family looks like. And you don't let anybody judge you based on what your family looks like. You have a loving family. You have 2 parents who take care of you, who love you, who adore you. Nobody can say anything about you.
Yeah.
And it definitely started at a young age. But I think what we also did, because they were young, we tried to incorporate books as well. And so we found books that I guess emphasized that families look different. But then we had also found a book that was called Mommy, Mama, and Me. And so because that's how they were going to address us. And so it was like, well, this is okay. This is what happened. This is not abnormal kind of thing. Right. And so just starting that conversation, from a young age, even when they came home and they said, well, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that, we would address that conversation, explain to them how it doesn't mean that what they said was like, they were trying to be hurtful. They're curious. They're asking questions because they're young, and it's not their normal,
right?
Right. But then I know they met other classmates who had, like you said, just one mom. But then they had a classmate who was one mom, but he was adopted. So that was a different situation. Or people whose parents are incarcerated, and just all different kind of things. So we had to just keep reminding them, see, people's families look different. So it started young. Yep.
That's good. No, that's awesome. And do they know about their donor, or have they ever met him? Did you all decide if he should be like, completely anonymous and not present, or like does he have any type of role in their lives? If you want to share about that.
They have not met him. They do know his name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They've seen his picture.
Yeah, they've seen his picture.
Okay.
We waited until they were a little older to understand.
Right.
They've always asked questions about like how babies are born, those questions and things like that. And how we were born, you said you need a man, so how were we born? So kind of explain that to them in a kid, fashion, not too much information, but enough that they understand and not to hide anything.
And it kind of like I could say increased as far as like the information as we gave them. So I would say just recently after we had our son, we gave a little bit more information to say you need sperm from a man and an egg from a woman. They have to, mix to create, an embryo. Right. And then of course it was like, oh, well, how do you mix them? And we're like, all right, we'll tell you that a little bit later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So the older they get, the more information.
Like there's multiple ways.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
So like they ask questions and, no, they haven't met him yet. Like I said, they've seen pictures. They know his name.
But he is, like I said, he's a known donor. And so we've had conversations like, and he's very, very respectful. And he's like, whenever you and Brittany are ready, if there ever comes a time where you're ready for us to meet, he was like, just let me know and I'll be there. Yeah. He has kids too. And he was like, and you all just let me know how you want to navigate that. He has a daughter who is 1 year older than them. And his son, I think his son is like maybe
19, 20.
Yeah, he's in his 20s. And so he's just like, just let me know, how you want that to look, and we will respect you all's decision. If you want them to have a relationship too, they can. If you want them to not, and it just be whenever we kind of meet, then that's what that'll be. But he was like, we'll take you all's lead on that. So very, very respectful.
Yeah.
And is that just like an understanding verbal agreement, or did you all have to get anything like legally written up that he's not gonna try to come in and be like, these are my kids, like type of situation?
Yeah. So we I created a legal contract. Again, I got like a little sample online, and then just kind of like
everything online.
I know, right? So then tweaked it to how for it to fit us, and he signed it. I signed it. We got it notarized and all that. It's in my little safe over here. So so there is a legal contract, and it even covers him too. Like I can't come after him because like when they were created, it was just me by myself, and so I can't come after him, for any like child support or like just expect him to carry them on his insurance or anything of that nature. And so when Brittany legally adopted them, and when she legally adopted them, there's a question on it like, do you know the donor? And I had to say no, because when I first had the girls and we were separated, I had to get daycare assistance, so state assistance. And if I had put his information on there, they would have gone after him. And that was something I said that I would not do. And so it was just, nope, I don't know who he is.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's important to know and for people who are watching who might be considering, if they are in either same sex couple or going through a process by themselves and want to use, a friend or a known donor, that is important. It's not always just what you all agree upon or decide, but there might be some, extenuating circumstances where the, city, state, local municipalities might make a decision for you that you may not necessarily want to be the case. So it's definitely good for people to look at where they live.
Yes.
Determine what the laws are where they live.
Yeah. Even the adoption process is different in every state, so they need to look that up as well. Because for us, I know we had to put some sort of like newspaper clipping or something to give the other person a chance to
a notice in the newspaper.
a chance to
Oh.
come forward or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
like, hey, I'm about to adopt these kids, y'all. So if they
Exactly.
yours,
yeah, I mean, they have well, it
better
was
come
one
and
person.
claim them.
No, it was right. So you have to do the article, and then you have to do. It's called the Punitive Father Registry, I think is what it's called. And basically, this fathers who they think that they have a child out there, they can put the child's name out there, like the time around the date of birth they think it might be, and all of that. And so you have to give that information, and they have to do like a search. And so they sent Harley's back, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't find anything for Harley." Sent Harper's back, and was like, "Oh, it was one hit on Harper." And I said, "That's not possible. They're twins. If you got to hit on one, you got to hit on both." And they're like, "Oh, right." They're like, "That was an error. Disregard. You're good to go." I was like, "What?" But yeah,
What?
it was. I know. Yeah, so it's like different steps to do
Wait,
it.
so let hold on. I want to make sure I understand this. So
Uh-huh.
so you got to put an article out that says, I got these kids ready to adopt.
Yep.
And they say, okay, let's put them in this registry, see if there's any men out here who think they got some kids.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if there's a match, then what? They're supposed to come and do like a DNA swab, or like just because I say I think I have a child, like what?
It has to be some sort of confirmation.
Yeah. So I think that is the next step, like a DNA test, because we didn't get to that point, but I
Right.
think that is what that process is. Like you then have to confirm that it either is the child or not the child.
Yeah.
You know, or that
Wow.
not the father, or you know. So
I wonder in those types of circumstances if somebody does, you know, have themselves in this registry and they're like, I think that, you know, I have some kids out here, and they find out, you know, oh, I do, and I confirmed with DNA, like, does that mean the state is going to give them, you know, parental rights? They can try to get custody, like all that type of stuff. Like, that just sounds
yeah.
wild.
So yeah, if you can prove like that you are the parent, you then, from what my understanding in the state of Missouri, you then go on that child's birth certificate, and you now have legal rights. But the other part of it too is that you now have legal responsibility.
Mhm.
So whether that means like they go on your medical insurance, you're now paying child support. If if this mom got any kind of state assistance, they will come after you to try to recoup that money that they paid out, because they're like, you should have been here paying that. So
Right.
they so yeah, it's yeah.
Wow. So definitely, no, that's good information to know. So then people know, like, this is kind of what the process is like, you know, when you want to do that. And for you, Brittany, did they, like, was there anything particular you had to prove? Like, do they care if you guys were married or not? Or, you know?
No, we weren't married at the time.
Mhm.
Okay.
I adopted them when they were one. So two. Yeah, they just turned 2.
Yeah.
But no, the question that it's like a bunch of questions you got to answer. How long was that questionnaire? You remember?
I don't
But
remember.
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
I think the only thing she really had to do was go or do the state like registry for like sex offender, child abuse.
Yeah, like basically like the whole background check, like a full background check.
Right.
So and we did that for one because we did that for one because like they're mine, you know.
Right.
I wanted them to have my last name. That's a joke because they had my last name before she did.
They did.
And also because the way that the world is, the way that our government is, I didn't want nobody to be able to take my babies away from me, or whether it be like, not saying the family would do this, but you know, if anything was ever happen to her and I didn't have like legal custody of them, then at any time somebody can take my babies, and I was like, that's not happening.
And I also thought that it was a I can't think of the right word for it, but like my way of showing her that I appreciated her and that I also respected her and saw her as their other mother. And in my eyes, it was like, if you were a man, I wouldn't have to do this, and I wouldn't be able to take anything away from you unless like I went through like, you know, a legal process showing you're unfit. So why shouldn't you have these rights automatically, whether we're married or not? Because if you were able to impregnate me, it wouldn't matter. And so in my eyes, I was like, you deserve this. You should have this. And even if I get mad, I can't be like, they not yours. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. They're yours.
Right.
And so
Right.
that was like my way to, like, I guess, like, honor her, you know, as their mother. I was like, yep, let's do this. And but like I said, married or not. So
that was a big turning point also. I think that was like the defining moment of my relationship with them. Was like, now y'all, like, once I got that paper in the mail, I cried. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I cried. Because it's like, my name is on their birth certificates, and they have my last name. So it's like something I didn't think was ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, it happened. So
yeah,
that was a big moment.
Yeah.
That's about, you about to make me tear up.
I know, right?
That is so beautiful. No, that really is so beautiful. So now we're talking. You're fast forward now. So now you're married, and you've alluded a few times now that we have, you know, Blue is in the picture. We have a son, Blue. So you said you got a new GYN, but the bleeding had come back. And so now you're faced again with it's crazy. I mean, I guess there's probably a lot of different testing that you had done, but for each time for the option to only be hysterectomy is kind of like wild to me. But you know, here we are. So now you're back again, faced with this choice. They're talking about potential hysterectomy. Do you want to have more children?
Right.
At this point, like, Brittany, had you thought at all now, having, you know, being in being now in the family unit, and you're like, did you have any thoughts like, you know what, maybe I want, you know, some genetic connection in terms of using my egg, even if I don't carry, or even considering carrying? Like, was that anywhere in your thoughts?
I don't think I ever thought about like that. No, I never wanted to carry. Like, that's never been on my agenda at all.
Not on your bingo card.
Never. Like, being pregnant to me just never was never. Like, I've never wanted to do that. Whether in a relationship, out of a relationship, I've never wanted to carry. That don't look fun to me.
And I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, don't look like something I've ever wanted to do. I'm never gonna. No, I don't. But I know I didn't want any more. I didn't want any more. I was like, we got two. What we need? We got two.
What we need more for?
Exactly. Like, we got two. And then she kind of convinced me. I was like, all right, we gotta wait till they like start school out of diapers, all of that stuff. And then that led to a couple more years.
Right. Because her thing was that she wanted them to be like, we weren't paying for like 3 kids in daycare. For me, I wanted to try again when they were 1. Because like, just get it over with. You're in the thick of it, and then you're out of the thick of it, and all at the same time. But that's not what she wanted. She was like, well, let's just wait until they're at least in kindergarten. And I was like, okay. So that time came around, and I was like, okay, what we gonna do? And she was like, yeah, I'm good with 2. Remember, I went from wanting none to wanting 1, and I have 2. And she was like, I'm good. And I'll admit, like, it created some real tension, you know, in our marriage, because I was like, in my eyes, it was like, I told you from the beginning that I always wanted 4, but I was like, I wanted more than 2. And our agreement was to wait until they turned 5. So for me, I held up my end of the bargain, and I waited. Now here it is, and you're not holding up your end. And so there was some tension, and we had like a lot of conversations, a lot of tears, a lot of, you know, praying and just trying to figure out like what we're gonna do. And ultimately it came to the point where we were like, okay, we'll try again. So
and so then for your son, did you have the same donor? Like, was he still around and available to donate, or did you have to go through a whole new process for that now?
So for
that process, you got another 45 minutes.
I know, right? So for our son, okay, we attempted to use the same donor. He had a vasectomy. And so they told us that the only way for us to use him again was to go through IVF. And they said because his sperm was not living, they had to, create the embryo and all of that. So I was like, all right, let's do it. Because I was like, again, back to that, trying to take away some of those, I don't know, things that like kids can talk about or make fun of you about. It's like, oh, you got a different donor, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, we're just going to keep it the same. And so, but IVF is expensive as I don't know what. And we not balling like that. So I was like, let's see what we can do. He came up, he agreed, he donated, but they had to do, it's called a Tessie. And so they have to go through his scrotum to actually retrieve. And they did not numb him. They did not put him to sleep. They didn't do any of that. And he was like, oh, shoot. He was like, that was the biggest stick of his life. And he was like, I hope they got it all. He was like, because Brown knows I can do it. He was like,
they didn't numb him at all?
No.
Like no local numbing in that area?
What did they tell him? It would, I forgot what they said, but whatever it was, they told him it didn't make sense to numb him. I forgot why, but it didn't make sense to numb him. So that's, And he was like, if I had known that was the pain, he was like, I probably would have said no. So,
what's so funny though? Like, not to cut you off, but it's so funny is because out of all the things, the countless procedures, legs up in the air, things poked and prodded up in us that we have to go through. Then you get to carry and deal with all of the bodily changes that come from carrying and growing. Pushing them out about your cooch with that pain, or possibly having the surgery where you get to recover from that pain, and they got to do at max a needle stick to the scrot.
To the scrot. Exactly, to the scrot.
and that's the well.
Yeah,
can't do it.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
yeah.
Had I known, this would never have happened.
Right.
Had I known, like what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just had
that
just sent me. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so he did that. They did my like little ultrasounds and things like that, and tried to count or try to see like how many follicles I had. I went through all like the medications and the injections, which there was a whole thing because some I had to give to myself, and I'm like sitting trying to hype myself. I'm like, all right, you can do it. All right. And and I'm like, I don't think I can do it. And then so she gave to me and she's like, I don't want to hurt you. And I was like, it's fine, just do it. So we went through all of that, but because so they did his, they got his sample, they tested his sample. This was around the time where COVID had just happened. And so they saw that he had the antibodies for COVID because he had already had it. He didn't have it at the time that he donated, but he did have it. And they were like, we don't know what we can do with this. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we say you can still create. And they were like, well, we don't know what having had COVID would do to, your sperm and all of that. So they had to talk to their legal department. They had to create a legal document for us to sign to like release them of all kind of anything
liability.
Yeah. And so I just remember reaching out to one of my cousins who works for the CDC, and I was just like, what do you know? What can you tell me? Should I be concerned? Should I just be like, this isn't going to happen? And she just told me, she was like, Blair, the womb can protect your baby from almost all things. And she was like, the baby will be fine. She was like, I say go for it. And she was like, if you and Brittany are okay, she was like, I think the baby will be just fine. She's like, I know that they're concerned. I know that they're worried because it's all unknown. She was like, but you'll be fine. And so we told them we wanted to move forward, but we had to wait until they signed or created that document. So his sample had to be frozen. They told us that they would pay for a year of freezing because it was them postponing it. I still went through my transfer, and they froze my eggs because I had already been taking the medication. And so then they didn't want all that medication to go to waste and all of that. So I did an egg retrieval. They froze that. Once they got the document created and we signed it, I went in for them to actually, transfer the created embryos into me. And I want to say I think I had 6, and then only one matured to like the next level that it was supposed to be, and that was the one they inseminated in me. One of the things that I wish I had done was more research on IVF and the process that the embryos are supposed to go through and mature to in order for them to be like viable. Because I truly, truly feel like that particular clinic, because they're a reproductive clinic, was just kind of pushing for cycles to like go through because that's how they made their money. I truly do not believe that embryo that they said was mature enough was not, and it didn't take. And so we paid their money, for that, and we were like, we can't do this again. It costs too much, and it just they offered I think it was like,
and at that time there wasn't really any insurance coverage.
No. So there wasn't it wasn't any coverage. But they also offered like almost like a loan kind of thing, like you can take out a loan with them or something like that. And I was like, I don't want to. We didn't want to do that. So
that was a big money grab for them. The more cycles you have to go through, the more money you have to pay. That's what it came off as. Yeah. So then we went kind of back to the drawing board, and we were like, okay, so we didn't know if we were going to do a third. You agreed to a third. Now this is the roadblock we're at. What do we do now? Because we both were very, very adamant that we didn't want a second donor. We were like, that's not what we want. We're not going to do it. And so we're like, okay, we're done. But it just kept coming back up. I mean, just almost like an ache inside of me. And I was like, I cannot shake this feeling. I think like I'm supposed to be, another kid. And so we had, again, long conversations, tried to figure out like what we would do. More rough conversation. Because at that point, it was just like seeing her go through that. It was rough. And it's like, I know I agreed to this.
Right.
And I'm in it because you're my wife. But I was like, if it don't seem like this supposed to happen. Like we going through all of this stuff. And I was kind of like, I was kind of like, all right, look, I'm done at this point. Like,
like
I don't want to have this conversation no more. Kind of like, I don't want to do it no more. I'm on board, and like now we here. It's not working. So what are we supposed to do? So
right. But yeah, we then again, but we did say if we did go the route of another donor, we still would want to use a known donor. If we could not find another known donor, then that was just gonna be it.
Okay.
But then we literally are in bed one night, like going through like the list of men we know in our life, and I was like, "Oh my God!" It just like light bulb went off, and I was like, "I'm gonna text him, and I'm gonna see what he say." And I did. I texted him, and he was like, "You know what? My initial response is yes." And he was like, "But let me think on it for a little bit." He was like, "But I think I'm okay with it." And so
the person you chose
as our donor for our son.
Yep.
And so he thought on it for a couple of days. He came over to the house. He talked to us. He, asked all kind of questions and things like that. And but ultimately, like, he agreed, to do it. That one we tried again, like at home a couple of times. And kind of like you said, I'm getting older. I can't keep going through all these cycles. So I called my doctor and I was like, hey, girl, can you do this for us?
Right.
And so that's what we did. We did IUI in the office. And took one try, and I was pregnant.
And then you were pregnant. Oh my God, that is a journey.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that is a big journey. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, and so now you got your son, and according to your daughter, his life has not yet begun.
Has not yet begun. Nope. Not for him. Has not begun.
Right. Not for him, but for y'all it has, but not him.
Yep.
And now, so now you're at home. It's a family of 5.
Yeah.
It's the 5 of you all together.
Yeah.
And you're moving forward, and that is beautiful and a journey.
Yep.
So you feel
it is.
Is there anything you feel like you wish you had done differently? I know you said you wish you had had learned a little bit more about the IVF
Mhm.
process and kind of what to look out for and things of that nature. But outside of that, is there anything else you're like, I wish we had maybe looked this up first or done this additionally, or is there anything you would have changed from that?
For me, the second time, just picking the donor that we chose sooner.
Mm,
Yeah.
And I know we go through things for a reason. That's why I
Yeah.
firmly believe things happen for a reason.
Exactly.
I think that kind of made our understanding of each other a little better because we had, like I said, we had some rough conversations make for stronger minds. So we had a lot of rough conversations that ended in crying and I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. You know, like it did. We had a rough time.
We did
in the beginning. So
I remember telling her, which I had to apologize later. I remember telling her like, whether you're on board or not, I'm doing this. I'll do it without you. I did the first one without you. I'll do this one without you. And that was so wrong of me to say. And I did. I apologize about that because I was like, that was awful to say.
Yeah.
But that literally is like how bad inside I was like, I have to have this. Like this is what I want. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? Along this time. But it was definitely, I was like, I did it before. If I have to, like, I'll do it again. But that's, you know, when you're with, you know, somebody and it's just not, you shouldn't say that. That was just so disrespectful. And I acknowledge that.
Yeah. Heightened emotions.
Yeah.
Everything. And you're going through all the hormones and stuff like that too. I'm sure that adds to it.
Yep.
And it's just most couples will tell you in general that the whole trying to have a baby saga is you know, stressful.
Yeah.
And it can be very stressful on the family and the relationship.
Yeah.
And there are a lot that don't really make it past that.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are able to, you know, go through the trials and tribulations and come out on the other side and, you know, are the stronger for it is so beautiful. And that's amazing that you all were able. And now that you're able to share this journey with people, you know, it might hopefully help somebody else who's considering or maybe talking to their partner and saying, okay, you know, as you know, it is possible, or yes, there could be some ups and downs, but we can do this together, kind of thing. And
I would say for us, I think, because I remember at the beginning you had asked like if the pregnancy, like, you know, if it brought us together, all that. I feel like when we had our son, we got to experience what we did not get to experience with our girls. And so I feel like that did bring us closer together. I was able to see a different side of her and just gain more respect. You know what I mean? Like for her and everything she does, you know, for our family. And so it just, I don't know, like if you can like love somebody more, you know what I mean? But I was just like, I love this girl. You know what I mean? And that's just, I was like, I look, God gave me who I was supposed to have because this is mine. So yeah, it was, we got to, like I said, experience that. And I was happy about that because I didn't have that, you know, and she didn't get to experience the whole thing, you know, with the girls. And so we both got to have, you know, something new. And then also having a different donor, like it's completely different. Like theirs is not around at all. And that is, and that's what we agreed upon, and his is. And that's also just amazing too. So it's like we have kind of like the best of both worlds, and we didn't know it's what we needed. Because what we didn't have with the girls, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that, if there was any difference in terms of his involvement since you have a son this go around as opposed to daughters. And like right now, I would say probably at these tender young ages, it probably isn't much of a difference. But once he gets older and you're talking about puberty, what's your body going through, what's it like, you know, growing up and being, you know, a boy and then a man, you know, like how have you all thought about that? Like, is the donor going to be involved in those processes and in those milestones and stuff with him?
Yeah, I think he will. He comes and does whatever we ask him, and whatever we allow. Is that okay? Like,
he's
I
very
think
respectful.
even if it was another girl, he would have been the same way. If we ask him to have a
Oh.
conversation, he'll probably be like, okay. Like he's just an all around good guy. So whatever we ask of him, like if we ask him to have those conversations and things like that, I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And do the girls feel like strange about the fact that, you know, their brother's donor comes around but theirs doesn't, or are they like not even thinking about it?
They don't know who he is.
So we haven't disclosed that yet.
Yeah. Like they've asked questions, they've tried to guess and things like that, and we're just like,
they know they have a different donor, but that's it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
We haven't divulged, like, you know, who that is, and I don't know, and I guess maybe
they tried to guess.
Yeah, but it's just maybe like as they get older, like they'll know. But I just kind of feel like right now it's not something that they need to know, or that they need to focus on, because I don't want it to be like oh well, I see who his donor is and I can see him all the time kind of thing. We don't get to see ours. But I did have to explain to them too that their donor no longer lives in St. Louis. He moved. So that's another piece of that too. But I told him, like, you know, but he's on board, you know, when we're like, when we give him the green light. So I don't know. I mean, eventually they'll know who he is. But right now they don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then is he sharing with, well, I don't know, you may not know, but is he sharing with people, like if he's in a relationship, decides to get married?
Everybody.
Like, you should say everybody knows.
He does. He
has. It's kind of strange. It has been a issue in his dating life, because he will tell them about us and his situation and what's going on, and some people aren't able to understand and respect what he has done. And I remember he said one girl even said, "Oh, so you're telling me you have a kid out here that you don't take care of?" And he was like, "That's not what this is at all."
Right.
That's not the same thing at all. What?
He told you, like, if they can't accept what I've done for you all, then I don't need to be with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, because that's wild. What? I didn't abandon my child.
Right.
I provided sperm.
Yeah.
So that
That's all I did.
I know can have a family.
Right.
Right. Like,
I went in the room with the
children are being raised.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So he was like, but he tells them up front. I know he shared with like some of his family. They don't all agree.
Yeah.
However, same thing with them. He's like, if you don't, oh well. Like he had, his parents don't agree. He has 2 siblings. He has one sibling who's just like, His other sibling is like, okay, can I meet him? You know. And he actually, I'm sorry, he has multiple siblings, but the ones that he has told and that he is closer to. But yeah, it's been a journey for him too.
Right.
That's so interesting to think about, because like you said, I mean, there are people, you know, not to, you know, kind of gender war it or anything, but there's definitely people out here who's just spreading their seed about the masses.
Yes. Yep.
You know, do people maybe like frown upon the fact they're not involved? Yes, but is it a, you know, big faux pas? Like, I can't believe you got somebody pregnant. Like, people aren't really, don't have that strong of an opinion in terms of that.
Right.
But to say, you know, I've donated, you know, for a couple, you know, who happens to be a same-sex couple, for them to be able to have children, and then it's like a strong, how could you, is very unfortunate. Like, that's sad, you know, that's the case, because it's like, oh, I'd rather you just go out here and just get a bunch of random people pregnant. You know, and maybe I'm jumping to extremes, but like, that's just kind of the vibe that it sounds like.
It's the people that don't have the issue, that have an issue with it. The people who are in, you know, who are not in same-sex relationships, or people who are fertile enough to have it or something like that, you know, those are the people who usually have the problem with it. It's like, you don't have the issue, so you don't understand why they did what they did.
So. Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think it stems from the same-sex component of it, because I feel like if we were a heterosexual couple who needed assistance, because some heterosexual couples still need assistance, then they'd be like, oh my gosh, that's what you did, that's so
you helped them
great,
out.
you helped them out. Exactly. But it's because of that same sex, part
They're
where
like,
they
what you do
can't get
that
past.
for?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm big on building community and, being able to create that type of foundation to have circles to lean on.
Yeah.
What have you all found? Are there any like support groups that you found that you can lean on? Any like, like online kind of groups, or is it been mostly just your circle of family and friends in terms of support? Because they say it takes a village
Right.
to raise a child, but especially with a lot of the unique things that you all as a family have to endure because of things like the same sex aspect of it, and especially now in our changing, political climate, and as different states are trying to roll back different things, and everything is very kind of hot button right now. Have you found that you're able to kind of commune with other families and share resources, or has it been mostly internal, like your family, your friends, and that support circle group?
It's mostly just our friends and family. Like we have friends. We have one couple who they were same sex. They have kids who are around our same age. We deal with them a lot.
But we actually, I met the wife through a Facebook group. We both delivered at the same hospital, and that hospital created a Facebook group for breastfeeding moms, and for like their breastfeeding group that they had like in person I think it was like once a week or something like that. And so her and I started communicating in that group. Then we like friended each other on Facebook, and then started communicating outside of that. And so she has her first set, they're twins as well, and they are 2 weeks younger than the girls. And then their youngest, they have 4, but their youngest is 1 week younger than our son. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. And so they were married as same sex. Her husband transitioned like 2 years ago or whatever. But yeah, so that's how they kind of started out for us. It was like, we both are lesbians, our lesbian families raising these kids, we both have twins. And so, that's how that, started for us. And so I would say that's probably the only
outside of
kind
family, really. Usually just close friends and family that we lean on.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Mainly my sister.
Right.
We lean mainly on my sister.
Right.
Yes.
But that's amazing to know that at least that the hospital at least provided some type of group that where you can find support, because lactation is a whole nother beast in and of itself. Anyway.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it? Literally to the point to where after breastfeeding them, I almost went back to school, like to get my degree and become a Liz. It was because I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot, through that process. Some just kind of trial and error, and then some doing my own research. But yeah, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's amazing. That really is. Oh my goodness. I am so grateful that you all have been. I don't want to take your whole night up. So but I'm so grateful that you all, joined me and, were willing to share your story. I feel like I said before, us sharing our stories, it really, it builds community, helps other people feel seen, and lets people know that they're not alone in this journey, and they're not the first ones to go through, the trials and tribulations of it. But on the other side of it, there is joy, and there are opportunities to, still grow and have your family. It may not necessarily happen the way you thought it was going to happen,
for sure.
Look the way you thought it was going to look, but you can still have that. And I'm just so grateful for you all being so open and transparent and willing to share so much of your journey with us, because that, I learned a lot. I feel
Yeah.
like hopefully those who, watch this episode will learn a lot, and especially people who it resonates with, hopefully
Yeah.
they will share it, with others, and it could be potentially, a sounding board for
Yeah.
for someone who might, not have the words to explain what it is they're going through. And then, maybe they
Mhm.
could say, watch this episode because this
Yeah. Yeah,
is,
that would be so cool.
what happened. So I'm so grateful for you all joining. Please share again, where can they find you all? How can they follow you? Are you on the socials? Like, give all the info on how they can find you.
You got it, girl.
That's you.
So they can email us at brichfamilychronicles@gmail.com. But then all the social media.
All our socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
TikTok.
all
Yeah.
B-Rich Family.
Yeah.
Well, all major podcast platforms, B-Rich Family Chronicles.
Yep.
You can email us, like,
Yeah.
subscribe,
Yeah.
send us all the comments, questions, whatever you have.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you comfortable if someone wanted to reach out, if they had questions, if they wanted to
Oh, absolutely.
get a
Yeah.
little more
Yes.
information on your journey to help
Yeah.
them? Are you okay with them reaching out to you?
Yes, I
Absolutely.
am. And also, even how I said the contract that I have, I'm okay with
Mhm.
sharing that.
Mhm.
But the petition we had to file for adoption, I'm okay with sharing that. I have a friend who I'm going to give her that, because I feel like you said, like, the community. And so I found when going through our different things that people were kind of like tight-lipped and or didn't know. And the
Mhm.
fact that we know, I'm like, here, take it. Get
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the information that you need,
Yeah.
because there's no reason to like keep it in. You know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
need to share, and we need to, help each other out. So yes, if you have questions, absolutely, reach out. I'm an open book, always have been. I talk a lot, so just, bear with me. And the one thing I did want to say is that I think whatever your journey is and whatever vision you have for yourself, just kind of give yourself some grace. Give yourself have some flexibility in that vision, I guess, is what I really want to say. Because how I said, we started out saying we weren't doing this unless we had the same donor, and that didn't happen.
Right.
Or
Right.
we weren't going to do X, Y, and Z, and it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And that's all okay. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
our ultimate goal was to be able to create life and, bring some babies into this world. And that's what we did. And however they got here is how they got here.
Right.
But just to give yourself, like I said, some space and grace, and know it may not look how, your vision, how you thought your vision was going to go. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's an amazing message to end
yeah.
on right there. So, you all know where to find me. I am, at the Fallopian Files on Instagram, or Fallopian Files on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. If you old and on Facebook.
Right.
And of course, you can find this episode on YouTube if you're watching the video version, or you can get the audio version on all of the podcast platforms. And please like, subscribe, comment,
Yes.
continue the conversation in the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to see this community continue to grow. And also, please continue to reach out. Let me know what types of conversations or information that you want to hear about, to hear our stories as
Yeah.
women, and all types of women. So please continue and take care of each other. And until next time, this is Fallopian Files.